In this video I will show you my way of playing the modern Scandinavian defense, and I think this is a really good opening to try with black because it's pretty low on theory. There are basically only 3 different lines we're going to take a look at, and you can get some crazy attacks. So the Scandinavian defense starts with e4 by white, and we're playing d5, immediately challenging this pawn in the center. And for the rest of this video I'm going to act as if white will always capture this. Of course, that isn't necessarily always true. Sometimes you will also get white to push, which is the advanced Scandinavian, or sometimes they also defend this. If you want to know what to do in those cases, I have another video on the Scandinavian defense that you should definitely watch after you are done with this video. So we're going to continue with when white captures, which is the main line. You're going to get this most of the time. And like in the regular Scandinavian, you would usually capture this with your queen, but we're going to play knight to f6, attacking this with the knight. Basically, because we don't want to run into this line where we capture with the queen, we are attacked by the knight, and now we have to move, and we are losing a move, we are losing a tempo. So that is why here we are playing the knight out, so that we can always capture back this pawn with the knight, and we still manage to achieve our goal of eliminating this e4 pawn. So multiple different lines for white, but honestly, I think everything basically transposes to 2 or maybe 3 variations. Most of the times you are going to see knight to c3, defending this pawn. Doesn't matter, we are going to capture it anyways. And basically, if white captures our knight, which is the most played line, we are just going to recapture with the queen. And now, like in the regular Scandinavian, we do have our queen in the center, but this knight has already been eliminated, so we are not going to get kicked around as much as in the regular Scandinavian. Of course, white doesn't have to capture this. White can also play different lines, for example, knight f3 or bishop c4. I think those are like the best alternatives probably for white. Against those cases, you can just play a regular Scandinavian-like setup, which basically means putting your bishop on f5 or g4, but I'm the kind of guy that likes playing it on f5. Then I play e6, c6, develop the bishop somewhere here or there, and then the knight out. So one example line is, for example, this. Just normal Scandinavian lines. And if you want to learn more about these lines, again, you should watch my video on the Scandinavian defense Valencian variation, because this is pretty similar. And if white leads with bishop c4, I do like playing c6 first instead of e6, because if they capture, you would rather capture back with the c pawn. And also white can actually try to play this tricky line against the Scandinavian with queen f3. And what I recommend here is just go back to f6 with your knight, attack the queen with the bishop, and then you can still do all of the normal Scandinavian moves. So that is in case they don't capture, but I think you will see a capture in most of your games, and you are going to capture with the queen. Most likely something like knight f3 or d4, doesn't really matter, everything is going to transpose to pretty much the same variations. If they play knight f3, you can always play bishop g4. It's not that bishop f5 is not playable here, but in these specific lines it's a little bit better to pin this knight if you can, because this bishop is really not that important in the Scandinavian. So if you can trade it for a knight, if you can trade it for a bishop, that's always fine. And this is also a little bit annoying since, well, white cannot move the knight, and if they push h3, of course, we are capturing here, and we are also damaging their structure. So basically we are forcing them down this narrow path with bishop e2, which is not necessarily what white wanted to play in this position. Here we can continue with a knight to c6, and these lines are going to be a little bit different from the regular Scandinavian type setups. If you get this exchange, you will have better options basically than playing the more drawish lines that you would otherwise sometimes get in the Scandinavian. And we're going to go for a queenside castling here. So we're going to play knight c6, developing the knight to the most active square, controlling the center, and then we're going to castle queenside. And you should already know, if your opponent castles kingside and you castle queenside, this is going to be a crazy battle. And we are going to go for a full kingside attack. The best move for white is probably to play pawn to d3. White could potentially also play d4 or here h3 as well. But if you get h3, don't trade on this square. You would be helping your opponent to get the bishop out and get an attack. If you get this, I would recommend just dropping back, and white doesn't really want to expose their king too much because they're going to be under attack anyways. And if they play d4, basically you can just capture this. That's just a free pawn. And after an exchange like this, you are just up a pawn as black. The position is still pretty drawish, but you are up a pawn. So basically the best chance for white is to play something like d3 because they want to get the bishop out, and then we are going to go for a crazy kingside attack. So the best plan for black is to immediately start with this push pawn to e5 instead of going for the kingside attack straight away, because we just want to be a little bit annoying in the center. We're going to take away this f4 square from the bishop, take away this d4 square from the knight, and then soon we are going to start our attack. So now the bishop basically has to go to e3. There's not really anything else. Bishop here is also possible, but probably even more passive. And now we are going to start off our crazy attack. Pawn to f5. And we're just going to push basically all of these pawns towards the enemy king, one after the other. White's best plan is to start a counter attack on our king, but white is always going to be slower here. So if they try this, you can move back the queen. They will have to do a build-up because, well, we still have some pieces here keeping our king safe. And we are just going to go for a quick attack, attacking the bishop and then playing g5. Here, of course, you can just continue with the attack as well. But I also do like this move. If you never trade it, I like this move bishop f5. Of course, in a line where you trade it somewhere, this is not necessary. But if you never trade it, it's back to push back the bishop because he was actually blocking our pawn at this point. So white can continue the attack. We're going to go in here to the center. Doesn't really matter. White's going to try attacking. And we can push. We can still push. We can also activate the bishop. And then here we can continue our attack. Again, if you want to keep things simple, you can always continue the attack on any line. But I like this variation with activating the bishop. Okay, here we are attacked, so we got to move back with the queen. But none of this is so bad because we are getting some pressure here. Also, this pawn is now pinned to the enemy king. And we are going to continue our attack here soon with these pawn pushes. So let's play a4, h5, a5, g4, a6. And after b6, basically, white doesn't have anything. White's never going to enter here on your king side. And we have this crazy pawn store. And I'm not going to go any deeper because we are already in pretty deep. And there are many different variations. But basically, everything is winning for black because you're just going to push. You're going to break open the enemy king. You can activate both of your rooks. You have your bishop, your queen, your other bishop. Everything is lined up. And white's just way too passive. And this kingside attack never really did anything. So I think this knight exchange variation where really early on they capture your knight here in the center is pretty good for black. Probably one of the most fun lines to play. Then you could also get a variation like this where white protects the central pawn with c4. And that is actually the second most played move. So this is something you might also get. So it's interesting to know what to do against this. Basically against this line, the main thing to remember is just that you can play pawn to c6. And pawn to c6 is kind of like a gambit because we are giving them a free pawn. And all of the other Scandinavian variations, we were always able to recapture and get equal material or even more material. But here we allowed white to capture this first pawn. And since we are attacking it with the knight, if they protect it with a c4 pawn, basically white is already up a full pawn at this point and we just played a gambit. But that is fine, we are going to get some active play. So I like to play c6 here because c6 asks the question to white, what are you going to do? Are you going to play a normal developing move? But then we're going to go for trade, and we could get a trade like this. Maybe the queen captures and everything is just equal and black is even slightly better. So after c6, white has to decide, do you want to be up a pawn? Then you should capture us. If you don't want to be up a pawn, okay, you can play knight c3, we're going to trade and everything is going to be fine. So the best variation for white is accepting this gambit, but now we do get our two knights developed. So we are playing for the quick development here. And it's a little bit hard for white to continue with quick development because, well, pushing this pawn to d4 is not really possible because we have a double attack on that. This knight out is not going to do too much. So basically the best option probably for white is to play knight to f3. And a really important move in these lines is to play the move pawn to e5. And the whole goal is to prevent white from pushing here to d4. If you play something more passive with a bishop out, of course you can play a bishop out, nothing wrong with that. But playing e5 really is a bit more aggressive. We are taking away this central square. White's not going to be able to push this. We are also taking away the f4 square from the bishop. And black's really fighting to have the better center here. And black actually has a better center and is even slightly better than white in these lines. And basically this also sets up a bunch of traps. And white's only move, which you get about 1 in every 2 games, is pawn to d3. If white plays something else, they are usually in trouble. Let me just show you a variation. For example, knight c3, which is the second most played move, so you're going to get this a lot. This is immediately losing because we have pawn push to e4. This knight has to move. Let's say they go here with the knight. We can play bishop f5, protecting this pawn because it was actually attacked twice by both of these knights. They develop. We can develop the bishop. White can castle. We can castle. Something like this, and then at some point you are going to play h6. This knight will always have to go back to this square because all of the other squares are basically taken. You can destroy the enemy king side, and yeah, white's just already losing in this variation. It's about minus 2 points, so black should be ahead about 2 pounds in this position, even though we are down material, just because this white position is so terrible. So knight c3, we are going to destroy them with e4, and other lines, really, there's not much. Let's say they play something like bishop e2, again e4. If they play something like b3, again e4. I'm not going to show you all variations here, but everything is just completely winning as soon as you get this e4 push in. So white really has to play pawn to d3. And many players won't play this, and then you will just get an easy win pushing to e4. So that is why this e5 line is definitely a good one to remember. And then we're still going to push e4. So it doesn't even matter if they play pawn to d3, we're always going to push e4. But at least here they do have this pawn protecting it. So at least here they can recapture. If they don't, if they play something like knight g5, which is also possible, that's not so good. Again, bishop f5, and that's pretty similar to the other variations. White will most likely capture, and here we just have a really simple game. Capture the queen, destroy their castling right, we grab back this pawn. So that's pretty nice. We also have a potential fork here. So white has to do something about that. We can develop the bishop, and we're going to castle here. And we're going to castle maybe with a check if they put the knight on c3, or we are just going to pin their knight. And then, yeah, we are basically just threatening to just go in, and we have 3 attackers on this knight, and we are going to win material. If white tries to stop us with a move like a3, you can just play your bishop here to c5. Threatening to exchange, because after we were to exchange, let's just make a random move. After we exchange, of course, we would be having this fork as well. So white has to do something. Maybe they capture us. We can capture back, and still, this is a lot of problems for white to deal with. And whatever they try, we're just going to go back with the knight, put double pressure, and in every variation, we are going to win material. For example, here, just look at this from the white side. What are you going to play? Bishop here? I mean, you're going to get this fork. So white's going to have to defend against this fork, and the only defense is basically moving the king over. And then we are going to play our knight here. And this is just devastating, because we are going to activate this second rook. We have 2 rooks, we have 2 knights and a bishop all working together, surrounding this enemy king. White is just dead lost in this position. For example, a variation like this, and white just loses material on every line. White cannot castle, remember that, because we already destroyed the castling rights. We have a double attack here. We have an attacker here. I mean, white's always losing material. The engine is saying best line is to play king here, just drop the bishop and basically surrender. So I think if they play this early c4, you are pretty much fine as black. You can play a c6, get this straight. Even if you don't get this straight, you almost always get this, but even if you don't, you can always capture back. And after the trade, as we have seen, it's important to go for this early e5, e4, and just completely destroy the white position. So pretty good game for black in these lines. And then the last variation is, again, we are playing the modern Scandinavian. The lines where white plays an early d4. And the main reason I see this as the third variation is basically because the early pawn d4 eliminates our potential pawn e5 push. And this changes a couple of things. So here we are going to capture, that was the whole goal. We are going to capture this pawn, and then again, multiple options from white, but most likely you're going to get c4. You could also get knight to f3, but everything basically transposes. Knight here isn't really so good because, well, we can just capture and then destroy the structure. So most likely you will see c4, and we're just going to go back. And if you want to know how to play this, you should really watch my video on the Scandinavian Valencian variation, because this is basically almost exactly the Valencian variation. If they play bishop d3, you can capture it. If they don't, of course, we are just going to keep the bishop here. If they ever attack the bishop, you can draw back. But all of those lines were explained really well in the Valencian defense video. And you're just going to go for the same Scandinavian structure, c6, e6. Yeah, you're going to develop the knight to d7, you're going to develop the bishop to e7, you are going to castle, you're going to get a position like this, you can activate the queen, attack here, and then in the future we're also going to play rook to the d file, potentially c5. So I don't want you to memorize all of these lines. The main goal here that I have for you is to just understand that against this line where they play the early d4, basically you are going to get a structure like this. And this is really similar to the Scandinavian Valencian variation, and I think that's a really good opening for black as well. So you should be fine here. And the main plan to remember basically is, let's just play a move here for white, is that you want to activate your rooks here to the center, probably the f rook here, the a rook here, and then some lines probably push c5. You want to try and exchange in the center and create an open file here for your rooks. And there really isn't that much white can do. For example, if you activate the rook, maybe they want to go in with the knight, and that's not really a problem. What are they going to do? Exchange here, it doesn't really matter. Maybe even doubling up the rooks here is fine. Again, trying to find moves for white, but this would already be losing. So yeah, it's a bit hard for white. You got to defend this. Maybe you want to take here and push. But again, is it really something you want to play as white? It's not looking so good for white. So these lines are really fun to play with black as well. And if you want to learn more about this, you should watch this video next on the Scandinavian defense Valencian variation. That is it for this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!